Royal Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings, and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wilding in the stands. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gonna be our year. We're here drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring. Yeah. Light the beam! Woo!
Yes, sir. Let's go, man.
The beam is lit.
What's up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans by fans. The Kings defeat the Detroit Pistons today, 122-113. Another huge performance by Domantas Sabonis. Keegan Murray played extremely well, and De'Aaron Fox is looking like his old self. So welcome in, everybody. If you're a Kings fan, make sure you smash up that like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification cowbell so you get notified every time we put out a new video. Shout out to everybody here in the chat. Hopefully you guys are all excited. It's Friday. Calvin, what's up, dude? How are you, man?
I'm good, man. The beam is lit. No Island Boys, though. I was a little surprised by that.
Oh, we can play the Island Boys, but we got to wait till everyone gets in here, dude. We can't be playing the Island Boys 10 times during a stream, and I know everyone, that's what they're here for, is to see the Island Boys. So we'll wait a little bit till everyone else gets in here, and then maybe it'll be a surprise Island Boys appearance here. But welcome in, everybody. Shout out to everybody here in the chat. Ninja Style, Parallax, Jesus, Tom, Alfie Man, Tito, Lane, Jeff, Brian. Wow, welcome in, Gothan. Welcome, Lydia. Good to see you guys all here, and everyone else that I didn't mention. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And yeah, it's Friday. Hopefully you had a wonderful week. Hopefully you have an exciting weekend coming up. Calvin, we got 2 days off here. We don't have another game until Monday against the Charlotte Hornets. So Progressive G, good to see you. So, hey, let's talk a little bit about this win tonight, Calvin. And the Kings finish up this tough road trip. They finish it up 3-3, Calvin, which is not too shabby. Like I said, they are returning home. Monday's first game against the Charlotte Hornets. They're basically at home for 2 weeks, so this is exciting. The Kings are looking good. They're 16-12 now. Sean, what is up? Jesus Christ, my King. Calvin about to be buzzed soon. Them locks are coming off. I love to hear it, Calvin. Calvin, I see you got the chain on.
Yes, sir.
What are your first thoughts on the game tonight?
My first thoughts on the game tonight are, if you were only allowed one shot per possession, the Kings would be a top 4 team in the NBA. I mean, the second half, the first 5 minutes of the third quarter is pretty much what won this game for Sacramento. They turned up the energy, the defensive intensity, big time. They got out and ran easy buckets in transition. That finally took some pressure off of the three-point line. They were able to get some good looks there, which fell. Keegan Murray, Harrison Barnes, even Kevin Huerter. And they were able to put this game away. And like you mentioned, it's a 500 road trip, a really difficult 6-game trip that the Kings are coming back. They're 8-8 on the road now this season. And they are the playoff, as the Island Boys say, right?
Oh, snap. I totally forgot that. I was trying to light the beam again like Tito. Tito's lighting his old beam. Shout out to him. Shout out to Dirt and Russ. David, good to see you guys here. But yeah, Kings get a victory, and it just feels so good, man. I know I said I wanted the Kings to win by 15 in this game. The first quarter, the first half, I was happy the Kings were in it. They were trying hard, but it was really that third quarter where they were able to break away. Huge third quarter for the Sacramento Kings. They took control of this game. What's up, Paul? And, they brought it home. This is exactly what we wanted to see, because there has been a few games during this road trip where the Kings looked a little lost. They looked like they forgot what their style of play was. They were turning the ball over a lot. They were not assisting well, and they were shooting horribly from the three-point stripe. All those things seem to be fixed tonight, which is really good to see. Also, I got to give a shout out to De'Aaron Fox. Did you see that dunk late in the game? That was amazing, Calvin. That was amazing.
Yes, and shout out to Harrison Barnes for the great find. That was a beautiful pass.
Yeah, HB played good today, 19 points. But hey, let's dive here into the box score and take a look. So as you can see, the Kings did win tonight, 122-113. They won by 9, and the Kings were favored by 6.5. So if you bet on the Kings in this game, you won double. Your team won, and you won some money, hopefully. But as far as the box score goes, Domantas Sabonis leads all Kings tonight with 41 minutes of action. Only picks up 2 personal fouls in this game, which is great, Calvin, which is absolutely great. We've seen him pick up a ton of fouls early. I think he had 2 in the first quarter of last game. And that's really kind of hindered him in his aggressiveness at times, just at times. He had an amazing last game, and then this game too, 23 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists. He continues the amazing shooting percentage, 9 of 11 from the field. Absolutely huge game for Domantas Sabonis. Harrison Barnes, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 of 9 from the field, 3 of 4 from three-point range. Played great defense tonight, had an amazing block in this game. And then Keegan Murray, 20 points, 2 rebounds, 7 of 13 from the field, 4 of 6 from three-point range in 36 minutes of action. Keegan Murray is looking more and more comfortable every single time out there. So really shout out to Keegan Murray. Great game for him. 24 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists in 39 minutes for De'Aaron Fox. Missed all 5 of his three-point attempts, but 9 of 19 from the field. He was killing it from the mid-range. That patented shot where he finds his spot. He stops, he pops. De'Aaron Fox, he was hitting that all night tonight. Kevin Huerter returns from the ankle injury. He seemed to be back to his normal self. 3 of 6 from three-point range, 5 of 9 from the field, 13 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. He did pick up 5 personal fouls. Maybe he was a little bit slower. The lateral quickness wasn't quite there coming back from the ankle injury, causing him to get in foul trouble in this game. But 29 minutes of action for him. Metu, only 4 minutes for him, 3 minutes for Rashawn Holmes, 9 minutes for Dellavedova. That shot just, it's so ugly, man, that 3-point shot by Dellavedova. it just looks like it looks like Charles Barkley playing golf to me. And then 17 huge minutes for Terrence Davis. Only 10 points for him, including a super deep 3 in this game. I like what I saw to Terrence Davis. And then my guy Malik Monk, 26 minutes, 11 points, and 6 assists, 3 of 8 from the field. And I see it here in the chat. Yes, Alex Len is still out, and Davion Mitchell is out with the Katie flu currently. As far as the Detroit Pistons go, we heard that there was successful surgery on Cade Cunningham on the shin today, so that's good news for the Pistons, but that does not help them in this game. Bogdanovich, 22 points, 13 for Isaiah Stewart, 15 points, 14 rebounds for Jalen Duran. That dude is going to be an absolute stud. He is currently the youngest player in the NBA at only 19 years old. He definitely doesn't look like it, that's for sure. Rough night for the number 5 overall pick, Jaden Ivey. Only 5 points for him. He does foul out in this game. De'Aaron Fox is making him look stupid. I love it. 11 points for Killian Hayes and 14 points for Sadiq Bey. We got to see Marvin Bagley, 18 minutes for him, 13 points. And our old friend, Corey Joseph, 19 minutes for him tonight as well. All right. There, we got to give them what they want, Calvin.
The Kings won, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabonis is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.
They are the playoffs, Calvin. They are the playoffs. Always good there. So, Calvin, let's go ahead and get started here. I want to hear from you. What was the most impressive King for you tonight? And then also, who do you think's wearing the chain? Who's going to be your twin tonight?
I think I have the same answer for both questions, and it's De'Aaron Fox. Sabonis is always impressive. So it's getting to the point where it almost doesn't even stand out anymore because that's just what you expect from him. And he had, again, his normal great fantastic game. But to me, De'Aaron Fox, the second game back now from the injury/illness, the explosiveness to the basket was there. The defensive effort was there all game long, which is why I'm going to give him the defensive player of the game chain as well. I know he didn't make a 3 tonight, but when they needed a bucket, he was there with some big-time plays. And also, back-to-back games with either 9 or 10 assists now. So De'Aaron is returned to the early season form, and that's good news for the Kings.
Definitely. And you think he's getting the chain tonight?
I would give it to him. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Keegan Murray also, I think, could get it. I mean, there's probably a few players. The team defense overall in this game was really good for most of the game. The rotations were great. They closed out well on three-point shooters. They just, again, couldn't get defensive rebounds. That's free throws and rebounding is what kept Detroit in this game.
Yeah, that is for sure. Well, the Kings coming off a season-high 50 points in the paint against Toronto. Calvin, they score 50 points again in the paint tonight against Detroit. Absolutely huge for them. Let's take a look here at the team stats. As you can see, the Kings shot much, much better in this game than they have over this road trip. 52% from the field, 38% from three-point range. Calvin, they only made 12 threes in this game. You remember we were circling that like 13 threes number?
13.
So definitely padding the stat, but all those points in the paint definitely help out. The Kings got out-rebounded in this game by a huge 13 rebound differential, 33-46. Jalen Duran was a huge part of that, but the Kings were able to get the win. They also shot well from the free throw line, 82.8%. They got 30 assists again, 14 turnovers as opposed to 17 for the Detroit Pistons. The Kings found a way to control the game without making a ton of threes. You know, we've been talking about this team has lived by the three. They've died by the three. Well, hey, you know, they shot 38%. They only made 12 threes in this game, but they were able to get the win, and they were able to control the pace and kind of the outcome of this game, which I thought was really, really huge for them. Anything else that stuck out to you in team stats?
Fast break points. 18 for the game, but 16 of those came in the second half, and the third quarter was when they really started to put the pace or take the pace of the game to another level, easy bucket after easy bucket, and that's what broke the game open for them.
Progressive G says Harrison Barnes deserves the chain. Is that 2 games in a row that HB gets the chain? Interesting. We'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. Someone says that the Blazers, Brian says the Blazers are currently trailing the Mavericks. We might move back up to the 5th in the West. So that's definitely exciting there. I know Calvin is really, really excited about that. He wants the Kings to finish 5th or better in the West and lose those luscious locks, Calvin. Lose them, dude. You're going to be saving money on shampoo. You're going to be faster. Dude, you're going to love it, man. I cut mine off. It feels great, dude. I am the opposite of Samson. I feel like I got stronger, dude, when I cut my hair, not the other way around.
You're making it sound pretty good, Barry.
Just trying to ease the blow for you a little bit. Guys, we got 40 people watching right now and only 17 likes. Please go ahead and smash up that like button. Calvin and I are just fans. We're just here having fun with you guys, and we get paid in likes. So please don't be stingy with the like button. Calvin, let's talk a little bit about Domas. This dude is playing so good. Many people would say, hey, we won the Tyrese Haliburton-Sabonis trade, right? With the way that Sabonis has
Not
been
according
playing
to Deuce Mason. Did
lately.
you hear him today before the game?
I didn't. What
Oh,
did he say?
man. All of you guys, I know you're going over to night chat before or after this show. So when you do, give Deuce a hard time because he called Domas a throw-in in the trade. I know it wasn't his personal opinion. He was trying to paint the picture of it seemed like, early on that the trade was not maybe an equal trade where the Kings really, really loved Tyrese Haliburton. But he used the word throw-in to talk about Domantas Sabonis. So make sure you give him shit.
I did not know that. I'll definitely have to tune in and give him some shit as well. But Sabonis has just been playing so well. He's been rebounding well. He's been like I said, super efficient scoring wise. And he's just been that guy, dude. He's been that guy for them. I saw Matt George posted some statistics on Twitter during the game. He said that the most blocks that Sabonis has ever finished a season with has been 33. Right now, he's currently on pace to finish this season with 46 blocks. He's definitely making, that part of his game. And Calvin, we've been talking about rim protector. Maybe this rim protector has been on the team all along. He's just kind of shaping his game a little bit, protecting the rim. Yes, there's the foul trouble issues that we have talked about in the past, but Domantas Sabonis is evolving right before our eyes. This guy is turning into an incredible NBA player. I did see, Calvin, on pregame, they were showing top 10 candidates for MVP, and they threw Domantas Sabonis in as a notable candidate or something,
Honorable mention.
There you go. Honorable mention. Maybe 11th, which is something that I haven't even considered. But the dude is an all-star. I think De'Aaron Fox will be an all-star, and this is a really, really good Kings basketball team. Calvin, what have you seen from Sabonis? And has he exceeded your expectations?
He absolutely has exceeded my expectations. I mean, I knew he was a double-double machine, but I didn't envision exactly the way that he was going to be used in this style of offense. He is absolutely the most valuable player, I think, on this Kings team. If you don't have him, they're in big, big trouble because they don't have anybody that can do even close to what he does for them on a nightly basis. So I still love De'Aaron Fox. I think both of them, are definitely in the all-star conversation right now. But Domantas Sabonis has been an absolute monster ever since this season started. We saw glimpses of it last year, but last year was such a different story. The team was already, had lost all season long. Guys were in and out of the lineup. They didn't have Mike Brown as their coach. So since this season started, he's been exactly what they needed from him in every single way from the trade. I'll give you more statistics. This is his fourth straight game of at least 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. He's the fourth or third Kings player, now I can't remember, to do that in a row, joining guys like Oscar Robertson and Chris Webber. So he's just been incredible for them. And yes, Ninja, you're right. Deuce was being sarcastic, but I still thought it was funny, and you should still make a note of it.
Shout out to Ninja Style. Shout out to Bench Matthew here. And Brian says the Kings are now one of only 8 teams that are above 500 on the road. Wow, that's huge. That is absolutely huge. Do you think Sabonis is the best player in this team now? Is it official? Is he the best player on this squad?
He's been their best player for the entirety of this season so far. Yes, he has been.
What's up, Callum? Good to get a win. Do you think Sabonis, I mean, is this peak Sabonis? Is he reached his peak? Can he get better? Where are you at as far as like what Sabonis, because I mean, I think that a lot of people had their expectations of what Sabonis could be on this team, what he was. Not a lot of people watch the Pacers play, not a lot of people watch the Oklahoma City Thunder play, so maybe people just saw highlights of Sabonis. They didn't get to watch him night in and night out. Now that he's with the Kings, all our Kings fans are watching this guy, like a hawk, right? And seeing every single game what he brings to the floor. For one, I'll raise my hand up. I did not think Sabonis was this good of a player. I didn't. Maybe he hasn't been this good of a player. Maybe he's still improving. But what are your thoughts in terms of like where Sabonis is at on his like career trajectory? Do you think he's like peaked? Is he still on his way? Like what can this guy do to even get better?
I think he could still get better. Every player can still get a little bit better. There's always, and the greatest ones always add something to their game, right, every offseason. But even if he doesn't get that much better, to have a guy that's an honorable mention on the MVP list, there aren't many teams that have those guys. So that's still going to be a great win to take away, even if he stays, basically plateaus right here. This is a great spot to be. But yeah, can he get better? I think he can. Part of the reason maybe you didn't see these types of numbers in Indiana, again, it's the system, the style of play, the coaching staff, and the other players around them. This is just a better suited team, I think, for Sabonis. He's always been the big guy inside that can put up a ton of rebounds, and we know he's really, really good around the basket, but he's gotten much better with his scoring efficiently. His numbers have been off the charts with that this year. He's shooting the 3-ball pretty well, even though he doesn't take a bunch of attempts. That could get even better in the future. And then I think just overall on defense, he's kind of like the quarterback for this defense right now, calling all the plays out, switching. They did a really good job of communicating defensively tonight. If he can figure out how to bypass the refs and not pick up these fouls, stay on the floor and maybe the blocks, even increase next season, that would be a way to get better too.
Yeah. I'm looking for, rim protection. Is he improving from 3-point range? Those are pretty much the two categories for me that he can continue to get better at. But I'm just so happy with Sabonis and everything that he's brought to this team. Like, dude, I will admit it, Calvin. I mean, you were with me when the trade went down and we did a live coverage from Punch Bowl Social. And, dude, I was a little emotional. I didn't really know what to think. I was really, really high on Tyrese Halliburton. I enjoyed him, and I really didn't know what to think. Now that, I look back on that, it's almost like that would have been a no-brainer for me because I like Tyrese a lot. I wish the best for him. But, Sabonis just fits his team so much better. And like you said, right, like just what he's brought to this team this year has been absolutely huge. He is the most important player on the court. I think no one replaces him, right? We've seen Metu come in at spurts and kind of fill in when Sabonis is in foul trouble. But honestly, Sabonis is like the driving factor on this team in my mind. And the more minutes he's out there, the better this team does.
Definitely.
All right. I want to talk a little bit about, the backup point guard position before we touch on the rest of these starters. No Davion Mitchell tonight. We did see Dellavedova play 9 minutes of action, and we saw quite a few people in the chat over the past couple games say we need to play Dellavedova more Delly. We want to see Delly out there and all that. Were you concerned when you heard that Davion was not available for this game tonight? And who did you think was going to kind of soak up his minutes? Who was going to create the defensive impact that we expect out of him? I thought they did a great job, but I was a little worried that without Davion Mitchell, that backup point guard spot would look a little rough.
Yeah, I mean, I expected Delly to get more minutes, obviously, but and I don't think he played a bad game. But again, like this, I've said this about Dellavedova a bunch of times. You know what you're going to get from him. He's not going to make any big mistakes. He's always going to make the right play. He's a willing passer, makes a good reads on the court. We know he's not the best shooter, as you could see with that shooting for him today, and a scrappy defender. But the guy's older. He's not ready to play, 25 plus minutes, I think, a game. And it's hard to make that jump when you really don't play that often. So luckily, Malik Monk had a great game tonight, and he was really good in decision making. So he kind of was able to pick up the slack, I think, for not having another, real point guard out there.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing the ability of Sabonis to pass the ball, the ability of Kevin Huerter to pass the ball, and surprisingly enough, like I keep getting surprised by Malik Monk and his ball handling and passing ability can definitely help when the official backup point guard in Davion Mitchell is not available. A quick question for you from Tito. Would you guys say Sabonis is a superstar, Calvin?
Oh, man. That's really a hard thing to quantify, right? I mean, we've seen him make multiple all-star teams. Part of what makes you a superstar is national recognition, I would say. And he hasn't quite gotten there yet. The more games the Kings win, if he plays in the all-star game this year in a Kings uniform, and they continue to put up these types of numbers late into the season, maybe even in the playoffs, then he comes back and does it again next year. And he's on that all-star or MVP list, then I think you can put him in that conversation. But superstar is a really, really difficult thing to quantify.
Gotham, you're killing me here. I'm trying to hold it together. But, yeah, I mean, he's just – superstar is one of the hardest things in sports to, like, define what a superstar is for me. Like an all-star, yes, you made the all-star team, so you're clearly an all-star, right? Versus superstar is tough. And I agree with you, Calvin. I think it has to deal with recognition nationally. I think it probably has to deal with like creating a brand for yourself, selling clothes or whatever, selling your image. Like a superstar for me is more than just basketball. It's creating yourself as this like bigger than life persona, this character. And it's like it's like an all-star to me is season by season, right? So you're like, okay, Sabonis was not an all-star last year. This year I say he's an all-star, but it's like superstar to me seems more like a permanent thing that you don't really like get rid of. Like Shaquille O'Neal, right? The last couple years in the league, he was not himself. I think he's still a superstar, right? I don't think you lose superstar status once you achieve that. But I agree with you. I think it deals more with national recognition, and it deals with like creating a brand or something around you. So that's a little hard to define whether Sabonis is a superstar or not. No knock on his game, but I would say he's not a superstar currently just because of the lack of national recognition, the lack of a brand. If you see Sabonis start selling shoes and his face is all over clothing, I think that, that doesn't make him a better basketball player, but it does improve his brand in the global recognition and national recognition. So it is a tough one to define. Would you say that Russell Westbrook is a superstar, Calvin?
I would say he was a superstar. I know you just said I don't think you can lose that type of recognition, but when your play falls off dramatically, people do start to forget about you. And I think a lot of people did forget about, or maybe not forget, but chose not to care anymore about Russell Westbrook. I think that definitely affects your superstar status.
Interesting. Gothan, you hear the announcer dude say Monk was dropping dimes like a snitch. Yeah, I mean, there has definitely been some interesting quotes from Kyle Draper. What was the one I sent in the group text, Calvin? It was
he won't always answer when you call, but he's always on time.
Yeah, what does that even mean, dude? That was in a reference to Harrison Barnes making a fast break layup, and I'm just like, okay. I don't understand it, but I guess it sounds good, right? It sounds good.
I think he's got the lyrics from that Ja Rule song mixed up, man. It's always there when you call, always on time.
Oh, man, that's hilarious. Progressive G says, we miss Grant. He was the best Kings announcer. I mean, Jerry and Grant, they got voted best announcers in the NBA. So not even just best Kings announcer, but they were the best announcers in the NBA for a moment. And they were definitely interesting to listen to and all their old stories and all that stuff. Two guys that really love basketball and have been involved with that franchise for so long. So they have a lot of things to kind of pull out of if they really need to. All right, let's talk a little bit about HB. I mentioned 19 points for him. This was a great game for him. I love the aggressiveness. And then I keep saying efficiency is really what matters, right? It's not really, the shot attempts and all this stuff. It's the efficiency. 5 of 9 from the field, 19 points on 9 shot attempts. He was extremely efficient, made all his free throws tonight, played excellent defense. This is the Harrison Barnes that the Kings need. We've mentioned that he's maybe the glue guy. He's one of the more consistent guys in terms of like energy and effort out on the court. But I love it when he's this aggressive. He really just adds a whole nother dimension to this Kings team. I see people in the chat saying, don't trade Harrison Barnes. People wanted to trade him just a few weeks ago. Thank you, Lane. Shout out to Lane for the super chat. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Lane.
He wants to pay HB. So this $1.99 is definitely going towards the HB contract. But, what are your thoughts currently on Harrison Barnes? I know you liked his aggressiveness tonight as well. Is that the only difference that you see between a game like this and a game where, he puts up 7 points or something like that?
I think it's the way in which he's aggressive, right? You can be aggressive in more than one way. You can be aggressive looking for your shot, which means you take whatever shot comes to you or whatever shot you can get. Or, there's a really famous quote. My dad will be mad or not mad, but disappointed because I don't remember who said this. But he used to tell me this all the time. If you can get a 20-foot shot, that's great, but you could probably work to get a 15-foot shot, and that'd be better. If you can get a 15-foot shot, that's great, but you could work to get a 10-foot shot, and it would probably be better. There's always a way that you can create a better look for yourself by taking the ball to the basket, and that is by far and away the best, strongest part of Harrison Barnes' game. I've said it multiple times. He's a great finisher through contact. He's really strong. He's a good free throw shooter. That's the way in which he should be aggressive. And you even saw him leading the break tonight, which is something that we don't see very often. So he was really playing with a lot of energy.
Yeah, love the old man game out of HB. He's definitely an important piece on this Kings team. So I, for one, am not interested in trading Harrison Barnes. I think we can get him to stay and maybe take a little bit of a pay cut in the offseason. So I'm on keep HB the boat right now. The dude has just played well, and yeah, like Alfie Man's saying here, compared to last year, HB is waking up. Which is definitely what he's doing. And like I said, the aggressiveness is key for him. He's got to be aggressive. And I think that quote that you said is perfect, right? Like, does that not perfectly describe Harrison Barnes, the guy that's always willing to work a little bit harder to get closer to the basket? And I think it's contagious. I think it is contagious for sure. Jesus says, I want 50 likes tonight. I want 50 likes also. So make sure you guys smash up that like button. And also, if you have not entered already, go to kings.com /VIP, and you can enter in the contest to win dinner with 50 Cent. I think you get courtside seats, a stay at the Kimpton Sawyer. It's a really, really big package. So it doesn't cost anything to enter. So make sure you go to kings.com /VIP to enter in. That would be really, really cool. Shout out to Bouncer here in the chat. Bouncer, can you get these sex bots out of here? Would much appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Somebody's asking here about HB's next contract. It's Tito. How are you feeling about HB returning next year, Calvin? And, what do you think he's worth?
Man, that's a tough question. I feel pretty good about the chances that the Kings can re-sign him this year, especially if they make the playoffs. He's been here a long time. He's gone through a lot of losing seasons. We know that he likes Sacramento, likes being in Sacramento. If you add the factor in of now he's actually on a good team here, I think the chances that he wants to re-sign are very good, and he'll probably be willing to take some sort of a discount. I mean, I can't obviously speak for him, but that seems like the kind of guy that Harrison Barnes is, right? So what is he worth? He's getting he's above the 30 age line. So obviously you want to see the numbers start to decrease there. Maybe a front-loaded contract, 3 years, something like $45 million. I don't know. I would be willing to pay him that. It's a hard question to answer because he is worth a lot to this team. He's very valuable in a lot of different ways. But you also are kind of hoping that with this free cap room, you've got a little bit of flexibility here to kind of take some bigger swings at bigger fish out there. So it's an interesting question.
What was something, I think you mentioned it to me, what was it, a couple days ago, about why teams are reluctant to make big trades or teams might be reluctant to sign people this offseason?
Woj just gave a report on this. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Anybody who's been following the labor negotiations for the NBA, they just moved back the official deadline from, it was in December. They moved it back to the day before the trade deadline. Okay. Which may be good news, maybe bad news. It means that they have a lot to figure out still. One of the biggest things that they're negotiating is a lot of owners in the league want a hard cap. They want to eliminate the teams like Golden State, who's able to pay hundreds of millions of dollars into the luxury tax to be able to keep together a really good team. So what that means is, or what that potentially means, is that teams might be unwilling to make a big splash trade for a very highly paid player if they don't know what the salary cap is going to look like next season. It's a very difficult situation to be in if you're a GM because you have absolutely no idea, will there be a hard cap? Will the salary cap be reduced? All of this stuff. So it could put a bit of a damper on the trade deadline this year.
Yeah, good point. And I think another thing to mention here, as I'm showing, what the Kings salary cap situation looks like, is ideally here you want to hold on to Sabonis, right? We've been talking about how this whole season is the season to prove that Sabonis, that he can win here in Sacramento and convince him to stay and re-sign. You already have De'Aaron Fox locked up for 3 more seasons after this. Sabonis has only got 1 year left. So whether they can convince him to sign a contract extension this offseason is yet to be seen. But that's something that I would really worry about in terms of re-signing Harrison Barnes, right? Is how does that affect a contract situation for Domantas Sabonis? Because I love HB, but honestly, Sabonis and Fox are the 2 guys that you really are building around on this team, and you got to do whatever you can to lock up Domantas Sabonis. Definitely. And then, kind of on that same note, you look at guys like Kevin Huerter, right? He's got 3 years left on his deal. And then you got a bunch of young guys in Murray and Mitchell that, you're in control of those. But Richaun Holmes, who you just re-signed, an offseason ago, he's got a couple years left on his deal, including a player option for 2024-2025 at $12.8 million. So if they're able to move a guy like Richaun Holmes, maybe that helps the contract situation out a little bit better and maybe gives them, better odds in re-signing a guy like Harrison Barnes. So definitely something to keep an eye on. That is for sure. Okay, back to the game tonight. Let's talk a little bit about the rookie, Keegan Murray. He just has looked so much more comfortable the past couple games. He's shooting the ball way better than he has been over the past couple weeks. Everything looks better tonight when we're not playing against the top ranked or a team with the top ranked defense in the NBA, right? Things look a little bit better. Guys look a little bit more comfortable, but I love the growth that I've seen out of Keegan Murray this season. I've said it in the past and I'll say it again. Making mistakes, in my mind, is one of the best ways to learn, right? So Keegan has had an opportunity to make mistakes on this team while they're winning basketball games and playing a ton of minutes and starting on a good basketball team. He played 36 minutes tonight for this team, shot exceptionally well. So I kind of want to hear from you, Calvin, where you're at with Keegan Murray. He's kind of been up, he's been down, he's been up. He seems to be kind of on that way up again. And we'll see where the next rookie wall is. But I just got to give a shout out to Keegan Murray. The dude has played so well over the past couple games. I love what I'm seeing out of him. And Calvin, I mean, dude, Keegan Murray will be an all-star in this league. I don't know how long it'll take, but I think he will be an all-star.
Yeah, man, I never wavered on Keegan. I've been high on him since the end of last year when he came or declared for the draft. I think his game is tailor-made for the NBA. He's a very versatile player. He's gotten better on defense as the year went along, which allows him to play more minutes even when he struggles offensively. But he's a shooter, and shooters shoot. They shoot their way out of slumps. That's what he's done. I think you got to applaud him for having a lot of ups and downs, in a short amount of time for your first rookie season, dealing with, the grandmother issue earlier in the year, which I think definitely affected his play. Yeah, you're right. He's learned a lot in a short amount of time, and he's lucky to play on a good team, a winning team, which is very important as well. So you got to love Keegan. He's a good fit for this team. I think he's going to be solid going forward, and he's just continuing to gain more confidence out there right now.
What do you think the coaching staff is telling him? Who do you think is in his ear? Is it Christie? Is it Mike Brown? Who do you think is mentoring this guy? And honestly, what do you think they're telling him at this point, right? Just kind of steady the ship. What does he need to work on? Where are you at in terms of all that stuff?
Man, that's a good question as to who kind of is taking the mentor role the largest for him. That I don't know if I can answer that without being, around the team. Doug Christie, I think it kind of is that guy for a lot of players on this team, having the connection of being a really good player in this league for a long time, playing in Sacramento, all that stuff. He's a great person to get advice from, obviously, right? But so is Mike Brown, so is Jordi Fernandez. And so are some of the other players on this team. Harrison Barnes, is probably a really good mentor for Keegan. Their games are fairly similar. Not guys that are going to, jump over anybody for a putback dunk or the fastest guys in the gym, but just really solid all-around players. And those guys, as you can see from Harrison Barnes, last in this league for a very long time. So the areas that he could get better at right now, he needs to, I think, still be a little more sure-handed with the ball. It's a big difference jumping from the college to the pro game. I think he is a little too careless sometimes, or maybe not careless is the right word, but just not sure-handed enough with the basketball, especially around the rim. I know the thumb injury is bothering him, but I think he could become a better finisher at the rim and definitely start using the left hand more. He's a little one-dimensional when he gets in close to the basket. But other than that, man, ball handling is probably another area that I would work on with him. But really versatile player, great shooter, and I think he's finally understanding, the team defense concept, because he's in the right place at the right time a lot. Very good help defender, much like Tyrese was for this team.
Jim says, Keegan is the type of pro who will work his ass off in the offseason and be much better next year, but he needs to rebound better. Yeah, I agree with that statement. I would like to see him rebound a little bit better, and I agree with you. He is, and one of the reasons why I'm so high on Keegan Murray is that the dude tries hard, and he cares, and he wants to work hard. He like, you can tell how much this guy loves basketball. And honestly, Calvin, I'm a big fan of people that don't talk. They just let their work do the talking. And that's kind of exactly where I see Harrison Barnes. And that's exactly where I see Keegan Murray. I think he's going to progress and continue to get better. I think he will work every single offseason to get better and improve. And honestly, I think Harrison Barnes would be a great mentor for Keegan Murray, like you said. Pika House says both Murray and Sabonis have said on record that Murray is Sabonis' rookie and Sabonis is Murray's vet. I have not heard that, but that is good to know. And hey, Sabonis is killing it. So, I mean, if Sabonis is willing to take Murray under your wing, that makes me a little bit more, a little bit more positive about the fact that you could probably re-sign Sabonis, right? If he's taking young guys under his wing that just got drafted, that are going to be with this franchise for the next at least few seasons, Sabonis is going to want to stick around as well. And yes, he is going to get paid. That dude is going to make a ton of money in this next contract extension. So I think Sabonis is a great rookie for Murray. Hopefully he can help him rebound a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
All right, man, it just feels so good, dude. I gotta pinch myself sometimes when I look at the record. I'm like 16-12. Wow, what team is this? Oh, the Sacramento Kings are 16-12. Dude, I feel like I'm in a dream still. I really just it blows my mind. It really does blow my mind that this team could be so bad for so long. You make a few changes to management, you stick with some players, and they're able to turn it around. Also, I found out today, which I probably knew before, but I was reminded again by our guy, Kyle Draper, that Mike Brown and Doug Christie played basketball against each other. I think it was in college. Yes. That's pretty cool. And it just continues. It just continues to show this team's improvement chemistry-wise. Players, they seem to have a good, just a good atmosphere. We've heard in the past there was issues with, Jaeger, and I was a big Coach Jaeger fan, but there was issues with Jaeger and some of the other managers or top-level executives with the team. Then we've heard about player issues with coaches and all that stuff. It seems like everybody on this team is on the same page right now. They all seem to work together extremely well. And yes, winning does help that. It really, really does help that a lot. But it just seems like this team enjoys each other, even the coaching staff, all the players. I love Jordi Fernandez. Shout out to him. This team is really, really starting to put things together, Calvin. And, I know we all want to see what the house is going to look like, but they're still working on the foundation. And it's looking pretty solid to me, Calvin. It's looking pretty solid.
Definitely.
All right, so Kevin Huerter returns after the ankle injury. I mentioned 13 points for him, 3 of 6 shooting from three-point range. This dude has really struggled shooting the three ball over the past month after an incredible start to the season. An incredible start. It got a lot of people's hopes up, mine included, right, that this guy Kevin Huerter was just going to be an absolute stud on this team. Not that he's not, but, he kind of leveled out a little bit. Now he seems to get the 3-point shooting stroke back again. I like what I've seen out of Kevin Huerter. Did you see anything tonight that looked like the ankle injury was lingering a little bit, or do you think he's good to go and back in full force and we'll see him again on Monday?
No, didn't seem to be any different in my mind. You know, his footwork was good. They run him off a ton of screens. I didn't see any problem there. And he knocked down his shots tonight. The only problem he had today was staying out of foul trouble. He would have had probably 20 points if he didn't pick up 5 fouls.
Do you think the foul trouble had anything to do with maybe lateral quickness, the ankle injury, anything like that?
No. Kevin Huerter doesn't have great lateral quickness with a fully healed ankle. So, you know, he got beat on a few drives today. Bogdanovic is a really tough guard. For anybody because he's such a good 3-point shooter. He didn't shoot well from 3 tonight, thankfully. But that weapon means he can beat guys off the dribble for somebody that's not the fastest player in the league. So, and then the other wings, Jaden Ivey is really quick. They're all physical. They try to get to the basket. So I don't think there was anything worrisome about Kevin Huerter's ankle. It's just he has a hard time staying in front of guys a lot of times. Yeah. Dude, what was up with the arena now in Detroit? That logo on the middle, like what does it even say, dude? It looks like a big 3 logo. That's the Michigan area or Detroit area code 313.
Okay. It looked like it says Big 3 on it. I thought I was watching Ice Cube's league or like a college game. It's really, really weird, dude. It should have the Detroit Pistons logo in the center of the court. Maybe I don't watch a lot of games. I don't know how long it's been like this. But it was really, really confusing seeing the court out there.
It's part of their city edition uniforms, I think.
Okay. That
which
definitely.
Is 313 is the city area code, all that stuff.
That makes a lot more sense. I had no idea. I was just like, this is stupid. It looks dumb. Of course, Detroit's going to lose this game. I wouldn't even try hard if my court looked like that. It just looks so stupid. All right, shout out to Jim here. Jim says, guys, what realistic player can the Kings add to improve the team? Lydia says, someone who can crash the boards, ? I got a few people bringing up Nerlens. Calvin, anybody in your mind? Do you have anybody that you've been thinking about that you're like, hey, I think this guy would be a great fit on the Sacramento Kings?
Well, I'll tell you one guy that just came into my head today because I really haven't seen much of him play, and that's Isaiah Stewart. I had no idea that this guy was a capable 3-point shooter. He's shooting like 38% from 3. Big body, very active, good rebounder. I think he'd be a great fit in Sacramento.
Yeah, that's a good point, dude. That is a good point. I mean, not a lot of people know who this guy is, right? The Pistons kind of have the old Kings aura around them, right? That nobody watches the games. Nobody really knows who some of these guys are. You know, you say the name Isaiah Stewart, all I think about is the guy that got elbowed in the face by LeBron, and he's trying to fight LeBron with blood all over his face. You know what I mean? Like, so you don't really know a lot about some of these guys on this Pistons team. But you're right. Like Isaiah Stewart, I did not know he could stroke it from 3 like that. I did not know that. He's a little undersized for the center position.
Not always about size, Progressive. He's a really good rebounder, good interior defender. You can be 6'8" and be a rim protector. Rim protecting is not only about blocks. It's about defending the rim. The Kings' biggest problem is they can't get a damn rebound. That guy can help with that.
Yeah. I mean, he's averaging almost 9 rebounds on the season, 12 points, some assists. The field goal percentage is right around 47%. That's an interesting situation, Calvin. I like that.
And I like him because he fits the system, fits the style. He can play outside and be open from 3. Sabonis can still run the offense from the middle of the floor. He really surprised me a lot. I love Sadiq Bey, too. I wanted the Kings to draft Sadiq Bey before I realized that Tyrese Halliburton was going to be available. But
Callum says
I would take either one.
He's thick, though. That's funny. Ryder, shout out to Ryder. Maybe we need someone who can
bouncer versus
rim
bots.
protect and crash the boards, but not willing to give up too much. Holmes and Len are okay, and we don't even use them. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are just over Rashawn Holmes at this point. he just doesn't seem to fit. He just doesn't seem to fit well. And of course, not an incredible rebounder, not a great rim protector. Can't get his own shot. You know, I'm a big Richaun Holmes fan. It's just I don't know if he fits on this squad, and he makes a lot of money. What can we do to extract some value out of him? Because he's just sitting on the bench right now, not doing too much. And then Alex Len. I mean, I'm an Alex Len fan. He just doesn't get enough minutes on this squad, and he's too slow. I think that he's too slow, and that really, really affects him on the offensive end of the floor. So he's kind of a guy that you put in certain situations, right? If you need a rebound, on a missed free throw, you're going to throw Alex Len in there. If it's just a defensive possession, maybe you put him there. But he's a little bit slow. So I think the Kings, like you said, they need to find a guy maybe like Isaiah Stewart, but a guy that's maybe a little bit undersized, but quick. He can keep up. He can play with this style of play, and can do something offensively, so he's not a liability while protecting the rim. And it's a tall order to find a guy like that. It really, really is. But I like Isaiah Stewart. I never thought about him on the Kings. That's interesting. That's interesting. Do you think the Grizzlies would be willing to give up a guy like Steven Adams? Because he is a great rebounder, right? Great rim protector, but it would take a lot to get him. I see Alfie Man is mentioning him here in the chat. Any thoughts on Steven Adams?
I'd like to have him, but I think it's very unlikely. You're talking about a team that's jockeying for number 1 seed in the Western Conference this year. He's a big part of that. He gets John Morant open time and time again, setting great screens. They're not trading him.
Bouncer says, Poison Ivy doesn't impress me much. Ha, ha, ha. Oh, that's funny. I never thought about that nickname. Maybe I'm not as creative as you. Sadiq Bey would fit this team great, Lydia, like Calvin said, but are they willing to give him up? Probably not. The dude's played incredibly well. We know the Kings tried to trade Marvin Bagley for him last season, and the Pistons basically laughed us off the phone. So I guess that goes to show what his value is for them currently. Back to tonight's game, Calvin. Let's wrap up the rest of the coverage of the win tonight before we move on. Honestly, the only star that we haven't really talked about yet is De'Aaron Fox, your guy of the night, right? 24 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, 9 of 19 from the field. Did not make a 3 in this game, which he has improved at the 3-point line, but 0 of 5 for him. He's back, dude. He had 5 days of rest, missing that game, and had some time to work on his game and also let that foot heal a little bit. He's starting to get back into form, Calvin. I believe after the last game, he became number 1 in Kings history of guys with like 25, 10, and 5-point games. So he is number 1 currently for the Kings now in all time of that. But what are you seeing out of
for him though?
Say again?
Sabonis is coming for him though.
Yeah, right. That's for sure. But where are you at with De'Aaron Fox? Do you think he's back to 100%? What'd you like? What'd you dislike out of him tonight?
He certainly looks back to 100% to me. I mean, the explosiveness, the quickness. He was pushing the ball all game long, especially in that second half. Got to his spots. I thought he played a really good game. He was a great facilitator as well. Just missed another 20 and 10 game. I would say I've only got 2 rules for De'Aaron Fox. Number 1, do not take a 3 the opening possession of the game. And number 2, do not take a 3 before there's been 1 pass made within the offensive set. Other than that, keep doing what you're doing. The defense has been great. I'm not saying don't shoot 3s at all, but early 3s in the shot clock, especially when the ball hasn't been moved, that's just not his game, man. Like, people are going to give you that all day. So he has improved at the 3-point line. He's improved a lot at the free throw line. But do what you really, really excel at. I'm okay with taking 3s after the ball is exchanged sides once or twice, but please not a 3 before a pass has been made.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw it right at the beginning of this game, at the very start, De'Aaron Fox getting towards the basket, getting at the basket, drawing contact. Yes, he's got the Band-Aid on right now, right, because he was bloodied in the last game. But, I see De'Aaron Fox and what Harrison Barnes are doing is very similar. I think both of these guys just need to be extremely aggressive, do what fits their game best. But when they play aggressive, like, nobody can really stop De'Aaron Fox when he is that aggressive. And of course, the mid-range game is just absolutely huge. He just finds that spot. He can easily get his own shot, and he's been stroking it from mid-range, which opens up the rest of his game and allows him to get towards the basket. So I definitely think that, aggressiveness is key for De'Aaron Fox. He needs to have that chip on his shoulder, and he just needs to be a fighter out there, and that's what he's been in the past couple games, which I really, really like. De'Aaron Fox is an all-star this season in my mind, and whether he gets voted in or not, it's going to happen in the next couple years because this Kings team is finally starting to win basketball games, and people are taking notice, Calvin. People are taking notice of this Kings team. They're starting to game plan for this Kings team. And, do I say it? Are teams afraid of the Sacramento Kings at this point? I mean, we got the best team in California,
definitely.
Calvin.
Yes.
They got a game plan for us. They got a game plan for us. All right. Anything else that you really want to mention about today's game? I said, Terrence Davis, 10 points off the bench. He was efficient. Malik Monk, 11 points off the bench, 3 of 8 from the field. I think we know what we're going to get out of those guys. Those guys are effort, energy guys. They can come in and get some huge buckets. They both like to shoot the 3 ball, but they've been up, they've been down, and they're providing a lot of energy off the bench, which I think is important for this Kings team. It allows guys like De'Aaron Fox to get a break and rest up so that he can be super aggressive when he gets back out on the court. But any thoughts on the bench? Any other thoughts regarding this game before we move on and talk about Monday's game against Charlotte?
Well, it was a total team effort, really. I mean, the starters and the bench, 7 guys in double figures. That's the model for this Kings team. That's how they play their best, when everybody gets involved, or a lot of guys get involved. We didn't really talk too much about Malik Monk today, but he really had a tremendous game. I thought that was one of the best games he's played overall in Sacramento. Didn't really force any bad shots, made great decisions with the ball. His passes were on point tonight, man. Pocket pass after pocket pass to Sabonis. Yeah, he was really, really good for them. And then I would probably just give a big shout out to the Kings coaching staff in general. You got a young team. You're playing this last game of a 6-game road trip. You don't come out and start the game with the best energy, really. You're down 8 at halftime. I don't know what was said in the locker room, but they came out like gangbusters in the third quarter, played a phenomenal third, 38 points, did a ton of damage in transition. Big shout out to the coaching staff for being able to get these guys ready to close this one out.
Yeah, that's huge. Jesus does not want us to leave. He wants us to stay and talk for another hour. Hey, we'll try. We'll keep talking for a little bit. But, I want to talk about the standings. Like I said, the Blazers are currently losing to the Mavericks right now. There's about 7 minutes left in that game. So I expect the Blazers to lose and the Kings to move up to this 5th seed. And then, hey, we can jump into the schedule and talk about what's next. But before we do that, Brian's wondering why we're talking about trades again. We're trying to improve the team, Brian. I mean, you can always get better, but I get what you're saying. He says you risk messing with chemistry. Sometimes additions become subtraction, but I'm overly loyal to the current players. Yeah, I mean, you're always gonna risk messing something up when you tinker and you change things. But hey, I think that Monty has shown over the past few years that he is a pretty trustworthy guy, and he's only going to try and do things to improve this basketball team. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And if he feels like a trade helps this team, I'm going to trust him. I'm going to let him do it. The dude has been in the NBA for a long time, and he's proven over the past couple years with the Kings that he is really, really good at his job. So I'm going to let him do that. If it was up to me, I'm not trading any of the big pieces away, right? I'm trying to only add to this team. Maybe that's Rashawn Holmes, but this team can get better. They can improve. We don't want to end up plateauing and just be afraid to add people, be afraid to add talent because we don't want to mess things up. Guys, I hate to break it to you. This is not a championship team right now. It's not. We are a good basketball team right now, but we got to continue to improve. And I think that goes for all the players They need to continue to work on their game. They need to work on their chemistry. Obviously, the coaching staff is working on systems, how to game plan for different teams, and also the front office staff has to do their job too, which is evaluate talent and decide whether they need to bring in more or not. So I think that's an important thing to just kind of mention there. All right, let's look at the schedule, Calvin, and talk about this next game. Oh, looks like I need to refresh mine. Feels good, man. 2 games in a row now, 2 wins. Feels great. Feels great, Calvin. We're back in where we want to be. And as we mentioned, real quick, I guess we can talk about this before we dive into this next game. Calvin, we've circled this 6-game road trip for a long time. We've been talking about how this is going to tell us whether this is a good basketball team, this is a bad basketball team. They face a lot of tough teams, a lot of adversity. I think they've overcome. They're 3-3 on the road trip, which I don't think you could really expect better than that. But Calvin, I want to hear from you before we jump into the next game. What did you learn about this Kings team over this 6-game road trip?
I learned that they're resilient. To be a good team, you got to be 500 or better on the road. So they started off pretty high. They did lose to Milwaukee, but they battled and were in that game most of the way. Then you beat Cleveland to sweep the season series with them. Come back with maybe 2 of your worst games all season long, and then have to finish the second leg of a back-to-back and the last game on the road trip to go 500, and they got the job done. They're a resilient bunch that I think is going to be around the whole way this season. They're going to be in the playoff conversation all the way.
Yeah, I think that's great, right? Is that's one thing that they've showed, that if they get beat up, they're not going to lay down on the floor. They're going to get up and they're going to try again. That was my biggest takeaway from this road trip is, we're down, but we're not out. And, you could take that in terms of a single quarter in a game, or you could take that, in one game and getting up and being ready for the next game. So I think that's been huge. And, honestly, we got to have our first look at a guy like Embiid, which I think, made this team, struggle, right? They didn't know what to do. And the next time we face the Sixers, they're going to be in a much better position. That is January 21st. So that's a game that I'm looking forward to. But, they got beat up and they got right back up and kept fighting. So it goes to show for me that this team is legit. They're trying to get better. And I think they will be a playoff team just based on that. All right. I Love My Life says, I love that Malik is getting some love. My favorite player. Yeah, I think Malik is my favorite player on this Kings team currently. And hey, I got to give you guys an update. Calvin, my jersey finally shipped from Fanatics. So I don't know when I ordered it. Was it 3, 5, 7 weeks ago? Something like that. But it officially shipped. So that's good. Hopefully I'll be rocking it here on the show soon. But, it could be on a barge somewhere. It could get here in 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So I'll definitely keep you guys posted. But I'm excited. My Malik Monk jersey will be here very, very soon. Very soon. I love the number 0, man. That's the amount of shots I miss during a game. So there you go. Okay, let's talk a little bit about, someone says Tyreek Evans. Any thoughts on Tyreek Evans, Calvin? Would he be a good backup on this team?
I don't want to sign anybody to a playoff team that hasn't played in years. I'm just looking elsewhere. Sorry.
Matthew Dellavedova.
Has Tyreek Evans been playing overseas? I don't know. Has he?
I think he came over to the Kings in a trade, right? A couple years ago.
No, I mean since he got suspended.
Yeah, I don't think he has. Yeah, I'm probably good off of Tyreek Evans.
And plus, Matthew Dellavedova, I don't want him to play big minutes on this team, so not a fair comparison.
Yeah. What's up, Mike? Good to see you here. Awesome win. And Key Kings, thanks for joining in. All right, Calvin, let's dive here into the next game. And as I said, this is a really, really nice road trip, right? We get 6 games here at home before we head to face Memphis and Utah, and then back home for 5 more games. So this is an extended extended home stay. and an opportunity for this Kings team to work their way up the standings a little bit. I like this matchup against Charlotte. I like the matchup against the Lakers and the Wizards. Denver is going to be tough. Denver is going to be really, really tough. Back-to-back nights. So let's not talk about that tonight, Calvin, because I want to stay positive. Let's talk about the Kings whooping the Charlotte Hornets on Monday. Currently listed as out for the Hornets, Dennis Smith Jr., Mark Williams, and PJ Washington. We know that, the ball is back in Charlotte. So LaMelo is back and playing well for them. And as far as the Sacramento Kings go, Davion Mitchell and Alex Len are still listed as out. Whether that changes over the weekend, we will definitely keep you guys posted. But Calvin, give me your overall thoughts. I'm not ready for your keys yet, but give me your overall thoughts on Kings, Hornets, and honestly, what do you think the over/under is on this game?
Oh God, it's a lot. It's got to be a lot. I mean, in the past, we've talked about first team to 140 wins against these two. Kings are a little bit better defensively than those days, so I'm hoping that this is going to be an easy one. But, man, they're going to have to defend the three-point line. The Hornets can really shoot it, and they can score in bunches. And the last time these two teams played, I don't think LaMelo Ball played, if I'm correct. So it'll be a different game this time.
You are correct. The last time that we played was Halloween. And we beat them 115-108 in Charlotte. That game was in Charlotte. Here's a look at the box score. Sabonis fouled out in that game, but had 16 rebounds, only 9 points. And we had a huge performance by Davion Mitchell off the bench. Whether he'll be available, like I said, is still yet to be seen. But, I think we got a good chance against this Charlotte team that does not know how to play defense. So I expect the Kings to light it up. I expect a ton of three-point shots from the Kings. Hopefully they can convert most of those. But I think this will end up being a win for the Kings. Calvin, I want to hear from you. If the Kings were to get a win on Monday against Charlotte, what are your keys to that?
My keys are going to be defend the three-point line, attack the paint, because the Kings, as you saw tonight, they should be able to get, another 50-piece in there. The Hornets are not a good defensive team, just like Detroit is. They do take a ton of threes, so defend the paint, and then it's always rebounding for me. That's the deciding factor on if the Kings win easily or if it's going to be a squeaker.
I only got one key to this game, Calvin. I think you already know what it is, but I can't think of another game that fits this even better. Whoever scores more in this game is going to win, right? The Kings need to score more points
with the win
than the Charlotte Hornets to get the win. So I think this is going to be a fast-paced game. I think we're going to see, hopefully, 5 to 7 Kings players in double figures like we did tonight. I expect a big game out of De'Aaron Fox, and I think that the Kings, I hope the Kings will dominate this game because they really, really should. You can't play down to a lot of these teams. And like I said, this upcoming homestand is a moment for this Kings team to bounce back, to gain some momentum. And I think these next few games are going to be really, really important in establishing what this Kings team will be doing against an amazing Denver Nuggets team and potentially a guy that's going for a three-peat for the MVP trophy. So I think these next games are very, very important. But I'm picking the Kings to win this game. Lydia says, bring the cowbells. Yeah, that should be a really, really fun game to go to. I'm jealous of all you guys. I wish that I could make it to this game.
And the Kings should come out with a lot of energy early in this game because I think it's going to be very loud in Golden One after this road trip.
Definitely.
Watching the game today, it was like watching an AAU game or something. It was so quiet in that place.
Dude, I felt the same way. That's what I was saying. I was like, watching the game, it's quiet in there. I'm looking at this ugly-ass logo on the middle of the court, and I'm like, what league am I watching right now? If it wasn't for the Kings, I would not even recognize that game. It was just so weird. But you're right. I think Golden One will be absolutely, screaming with energy, dude. I think there's going to be so many people there. They'll be excited to light the beam. We'll get some chants going. Keegan Murray. Yep. Dude, we need to get a Royal Rebounds chant going, right? We go Royal, and then everyone goes Rebounds. Dude, that would be great. And you know I'm a big fan of the wave, but we're not going to be in attendance. Next game we go to, Calvin, we got to start the wave because that's my favorite, dude. I love the wave, dude. I'm a big wave fan. Probably why I moved to Hawaii.
That would make sense. The wave doesn't really do it for me. I don't know. I'm just not
What's wrong with the wave?
Guy, but it rarely looks good. You know, everybody's got to be so in sync. I hate having to get up out of my chair and then sit down again every like 2 minutes. Let's just get a good chant going, you know?
Oh man, Calvin's lazy, guys. Calvin's lazy. I don't want to get up out of my seat.
No,
and sit back
if you're
down.
hype, get up and stand. And you know, if it's a close game, stand the whole time. If it's not, then sit down and relax. You don't have to do it every fucking 5 seconds.
Do you remember when the the Thunder? They used to start out every game and everybody in the arena would stand until they scored a point. Do they still do that?
Yeah. I don't know. There's a bunch of college campuses that do that. I don't know if the Thunder do it or not, but
okay. Yeah, dude, I'm a big wave fan. They're like when you start the wave and you see it go all the way around and then it comes back again, you get to do it again. Oh man, it's just a special feeling inside where you're just like, I got it, dude. I'm catching the wave. I'm catching it. I like the wave a lot. I see a couple people here in the chat talking about Kyle Kuzma. Of course, we saw the tweet from him talking about touching down in California, loving the breeze. Apparently, he's expected to decline his player option and become a free agent this offseason. What are your thoughts on, a guy like Kuzma? Would you be interested in making a deal for him this year with his ability to become a free agent? So it would maybe be a 1-year rental. Or are you going to try and re-sign him? Or is he kind of a guy where you're like, let's play this year out, and then maybe he'll be an off-season target?
I certainly wouldn't make any drastic trade move for him right now because, again, I'd be worried about giving up, too much, like a Harrison Barnes plus somebody else or more draft picks. I think that if you were to negotiate a trade that you felt like worked for the team, chances of re-signing him are better. Seeing how I don't think he ever really wanted to leave California in the first place. He thought he was coming to Sacramento, then ends up going to Washington. The tweet about the California breeze, all of that stuff. Considering the Kings are expected to be a playoff team this year, all that stuff works in your favor, I think, for re-signing him. But I would be a little cautious about making a move for him right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't want to give up too much at this point.
Yeah,
Kuzma's a good player.
I feel so bad that I keep just saying trade Rashawn Holmes for him, right? Like every player that comes up, I'm just like, oh yeah, maybe we could just trade Rashawn Holmes for him. If a deal like that could work out, I think that could work out for both teams, right? It allows Rashawn to go to a team where maybe he gets some more playing time. It allows Kuzma to come to this team and see what he can do, and then maybe opt out in the offseason. It gives the Kings some more salary cap space to re-sign some guys, or maybe they like him and Kuzma plays exceptionally well and they bring him back. I think the dude can rebound. He can obviously score with the best of them, but not really a shot blocker. So I don't know if he adds that dimension.
Yeah,
but
I
like
haven't seen
Kuzma.
a ton of great defense out of him as a whole. Maybe Mike Brown and his staff are the guys that can get that out of him, but I'm not sold on that yet.
What's up, Ivan? Shout out to Ivan. Ivan says, Kings wins make my illnesses go away. That's great. That is really, really good. Well, Calvin, I think that pretty much wraps up the show today. You got any other thoughts on this Kings team? Anything you want to say to the royal family out there?
Just thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for supporting us, supporting this channel. We Kings fans have been through a lot of rough times, and now things are finally starting to turn the corner and go our way. So I think everybody deserves a big salute and a tap on the back, on the shoulder for sticking it out. And we're having fun right now.
We're having so much fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to smash up that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you all on Monday for the Kings' domination over the Charlotte Hornets. Hopefully I didn't jinx it, but hey, have a good night. In the meantime, Go Kings.
The Kings won, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabonis is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.